Welcome back to what remains, session 50, entitled Fast Forward. Last session, stuff happened. They are where they're at. They are in the city of Nock in the year 1056 of the Common Age, which is a year after what they remember it being. They've done some exploratory work, most of it dealing with the Elm Woods. They've learned that Fiona is no longer in city. Here we are. So, um, starting with your group, continuing in the inquiries regarding the city of Knock and what you're wanting to do after arriving in it. Anybody want to step to the fore?
Yeah, Estella and Soma will head towards House Dagot to check in with Copperhead since we're a year overdue for our job.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way, Soma will try to use his bracelet to see if there's any response.
Yeah, the bracelet works. The reply from Copperhead is, yeah, don't meet me at the office. Meet me um, outside the Ashtar Temple. Not a usual location where you'd meet with Copperhead for any reason, but
No, every meeting
yeah,
has been at the office, so Soma
right.
will give Estella kind of a nervous look, but
The
Closer to the Elm Woods.
walk to the Ashtar Temple or travel to the Ashtar Temple is similar to what you'd expect it. Obviously, there are signs that kind of denote that it is a different um, time than it was. Minor things, but noticeable things. Um, upon arriving outside of the Ashtar Temple, you would see that Copperhead is seated on the steps outside of it, as people are kind of moving up and down the steps into the temple and therein. He stands up as he sees you approaching and kind of walks over to you at the base of the steps and says, "You never messaged me from there, did you?"
did not. Wasn't expecting it to be a year.
Did you get my message?
I didn't get anything.
Interesting. It's supposed to have worked. I don't know why you were gone for so long. Must have been an eventful trip.
Not
You could say that.
particularly.
Okay. Well, a lot's changed since last we got to see one another. Quite a bit indeed. Um, are you still capable of work? He says to Estella.
Of course.
Got a problem I need dealt with, but I really can't push any funds your way as of yet. If you want to do some preliminary work, unless you're busy with something else, so much the better. But I do have a problem that I'm being told I need to deal with and have had some trouble dealing with.
Is it related to our previous work?
No, our previous work is basically concluded. I don't concern myself with the loose ends that you might be concerned with. He looks over to Soma and he says, genuinely, don't concern yourself with any loose ends regarding previous work. And then he looks back to Estella and says, higher ups are wanting me to find a means of taking down an individual named Roland Brannis. He is the leader of he is the leader of the Union of Workers that's formed in recent months.
God damn it!
John, when
Killing unions.
Copperhead says that to Soma, is there any kind of like more of a warning that something bad is going on?
You think that he's the reason why he kind of insightfully kind of pushed to that. He's mostly referring to your loose ends, and he's saying, "Don't ask any questions." Was the message that he was granting?
Okay, so not the Harrigan,
Yeah.
etc. stuff, the Soma.
Yeah, he seems to be kind of focused on like the job is no longer a concern for Daigot, because remember the fabricator's not his problem, that's yours. That's different. But after he says what he says, I want to make sure you both understand. Estella, you owe him nothing.
Yep.
If he says your contracts from before are done, then they're done. And
Which is
Soma,
great.
if he's not wanting to push any information towards your quote unquote loose ends, there's really no reason why you should be associating with him either. But again, if you want to take the job, you can. I just want to make sure you understand that you are not bound to Copperhead.
Yeah.
Based on what he just said.
He said Roland Brannis, though,
Mm-hmm.
and he said it's connected to what?
He is the leader of the Union of Workers, a union that's formed in recent months, more heavily, that is causing problems for the families or the houses.
And you need us to. You're asking if we can
Kill him.
deal with him?
Yeah, and you're out in the open, and he says, "Kill him." Yeah, bluntly, no tongue, no twists, no can't, nothing.
And he's just creating general troubles?
I can kind of explain that the Council of Ten is not terribly happy with him at current, and unfortunately, others have attempted to move on him, but he is quite
A problem.
quite guileful.
I suppose we can consider this. Looks at Soma.
You can't offer funds, but you've been in the city this whole time, so perhaps you can put forward some information instead.
Depends on the inquiries.
You heard the name, the Fabricator?
I'm well aware of the Fabricator. House Harrigan.
Someone will look over to Estella, kind of with a look to determine how far to push it, or, things are obviously very, very weird in this situation.
Well, because clearly we don't know what happened in this year. She'd make a motion, just kind of leave it for now. Let's consider this. For now, we, of course, need to get our bearings again. It has been a year gone, and seems many things have changed. Do you mind if we let you know?
Yeah, that's fine. I will be searching for other individuals to complete the task as well, as that seems to
Of
be
course.
my current sole goal. He looks at Soma and says, I wouldn't suggest keeping that. He gestures towards the bangle you're wearing. Needless to say, this is going to be a bit for me to try to explain here. But this is the best place I think we can do it. Everywhere in Nock has eyes. The one you mentioned is the reason why that's the case. I don't know what's causing it, but there appears to be people who are higher than the houses who are making maneuvers towards certain individuals. So I would suggest keeping your head low if you're remaining in the city. And if you have tasks to do, do them. Do them, and if someone asks you questions and seeks answers regarding your motives, you don't hesitate. You have a fucking reason why. You tell them what the hell the problem is and what you're doing and why you're doing it.
So the office isn't just getting remodeled then, I assume.
Basically, anywhere you walk past that has bricks made from Gravesend is a place you're probably going to be listened in on. So just be mindful.
Is that the bricks made out of the mushroom material?
Mm-hmm.
Is that stuff flammable?
Mm-mm.
We'll see about that.
Sounds like a challenge.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah. But like I said, you should probably get rid of the bangle. If you're going to reach out to me, he gestures towards the temple, and you'll see that there's like a large statue, and he says, "There's an old Mardigan drop there. They don't use it. I do. You'll know what to do when you get up to the statue. But if you have a message for me, you drop it. I'll get in contact with you the next morning." Old school. He shrugs. See you later, Soma. And heads off.
Back to the Elmwoods to meet with the rest then, I suppose.
I suppose that is the best option for now.
On the way back to the tavern, Soma will make a little detour to go to one of his stashes that he probably has set up through the city to put the bangle there, just so it's not left somewhere out in the open or anything like that. If
Got it.
situation merits having it again, he can retreat.
Okay. Everybody meets back up at the Elmwoods.
Ezra's sitting at the bar and he's drinking, and the Eric Fish is sitting on the bar next to him, and he's explaining to him all the crazy shit that has happened since they parted ways with Eric.
You just put a dead fish.
Is it alive?
It's not alive. It's not
You put a
alive.
dead fish on the counter?
A dead fish with a face.
How many looks is he given?
It probably smells so bad.
All
It
of
probably
them.
does. Ezra's
Getting
aware it's
all of
dead,
them.
but he's also just talking to it like it's Eric.
Is
Aw,
Anne at the
buddy.
bar?
That's something.
Which is Anne at the bar, or is
Oh, it's Anne, yeah.
Soma will approach and say, sorry about that down there. It was a very eventful year, I suppose.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. So what brings you back into the city?
Teleportation? Soma will just
Sure.
say it kind of haphazardly. Just,
Yeah. That'll do it. She shrugs. She's not really engaged in anything otherwise. She just seems to be kind of awkwardly standing there
how
at the
busy
bar.
is the inn busy? Or
It's not too bad.
It's
So-
middle of the day, though, right?
About mid-afternoon, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is it the
And-
Day of Dawn?
No.
So, is it a weekday?
Yeah,
Like-
it's like a Wednesday.
Okay.
I'd be just playing music over
makes sense.
wherever the music is being played.
How has business been, Anne? And
It's pretty good.
Like-
My connection with your husband has been really great. We've
excellent.
been working quite well together. Me and God, why can't I remember her husband's name? Right on the tip of my brain too. Woods.
Elliot?
Elliot,
Elliot.
yeah.
Me and Elliot were actually thinking about leaving the city and going and living in Land's End.
Oh.
Possibly taking on gigs with Golradier. But we haven't really decided on it yet. There's just been so much kind of weirdnesses in the city. We'd like to have a place for Fiona to come back to, but I don't think that has to be within the walls anymore.
Of
Has
course.
it been that bad?
No, I wouldn't say bad. Just
different?
yeah, it just hasn't been the same since you folks disappeared.
Apologies.
Well, we are back now. Isn't that right, Eric? And he's like,
That fish.
Blob, 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 blob.
Okay, so this is to make sure this is the first time that you extracted the fish from the bag outside of the plane of shadow, right?
Yes.
Okay, so as you pull it out of the bag of holding, which it was in, it just
No, it was in Hezrod's bag.
oh, so it wasn't even in a bag of holding.
Nope.
Oh,
No.
sorry. You reach in for where the fish was located, and you kind of just start pulling up this damp ash that's just
that's
like
gross.
sludge and like filth in your hands.
Oh no.
There is
Fucked up.
no real physical representation of the fish outside of the plane of shadow.
Eric!
It's just mush. It's just mush.
Eric!
As you kind of open up the bag, you can see your hand kind of like plunge through what was like his forehead and like the fish back of it. So there's this like broken up like pudding like face that just like slowly kind of like oozed out to the sides.
Oh,
That's gross.
This is
Oh.
disgusting.
Oh, Eric! I'm sorry. That is disgusting. He like still holding his bag open. He kind of looks around and then he like hobbles over to the fire and just starts scooping it out and throwing it into the fire.
Fish bones, just pure fish bones.
Okay.
Follow up question, John. Why are you the way that you are?
I'm not
Then he
done.
sets him up and I
What
knock him
made you
down.
this way?
Hold on. I'm not done yet. So as the material starts entering into the
no.
fire and burning, this kind of sweet smell of like bacon kind of comes out of the fire. It's a strangely alluring, but it doesn't just smell like bacon. It smells like bacon wrapped like seafood. Like there's like
Oh,
a seafood kind of tang to it. It smells like
Okay.
someone took like scallops and wrapped them with bacon and roasted them.
Why do you make that sound so pleasant yet so disgusting, though?
all you hear from the fire. Why?
Bacon wrapped scallops are delicious, John.
They're so
But
good.
now you're making them
They are.
sound disgusting
True.
and vile.
Every time you eat them, remember Eric.
No.
I won't. Thank you very much.
Dude, whatever.
He's like, I didn't even know.
I don't even.
Eric.
I don't even know what you
I'll
said.
eat that ashy pudding. Whatever.
I don't even
Eat
know
our
that
ashy
guy.
pudding. We'll eat our ashy pudding.
Kind of pictured Hezrod being waste not, want not.
No.
Getting back. when you say the city has changed just because Fiona and her friends weren't here, or has something actually kind of shifted?
Well,
Oh fuck.
100%. Thank you, Josh. Well, at first, when you first kind of vanished and disappeared, we were getting a lot of guests that were really kind of bringing down the mood here. They were women from the House Montoulet, and they were asking a lot of questions, but we didn't really have any of the answers to the questions they were asking, like where you were. They had asked where Golradir was, but we didn't tell them.
Thank goodness.
Hold on, just one moment. Someone will turn to Avran and say, "Avran, do you remember after we went to the church, how there was that light pole that was a little weird? Can you do that thing to see if there's anything weird here?"
I will divine sense.
Sure. So when you do, you'll notice that the building on the exterior is structured of brick, kind of old brick. On the interior, it kind of has a wood paneling finish that's kind of like very old, rustic style.
Mhm.
And there are kind of hanging from some of the sides walls are like small little lanterns kind of hanging from metalwork. One of the lanterns glows.
I go to it.
Okay.
I stand right under it or next to it, and
Mhm.
I point to it.
Thanks, Avran. And it has it is nice to see that you and Elliot are presumably well, but Estella, didn't you get a message from Golradir after you arrived that he could perhaps use some help out there at Land's End? Someone will say it kind of with a little bit of a tone.
Right. Yes.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah. I'm sure, as you're somewhat aware, Anne, there is room for expansion in his endeavor. So if you and Elliot are wanting to move,
I'm going to take this.
you're
as a
very welcome.
I'm going to take this as a formal mouth and last invitation.
Of course.
Because Golridir wasn't so certain. But if
Well.
you're making the invitation, I'll probably be ready to move in a couple of weeks or a couple of 6 days. She actually is kind of giddy, and she kind of taps one of her barkeeps to kind of the servant staff or server staff to kind of maintain the bar as she kind of heads out of the room, kind of very happily. Almost strangely timed, at about the exact same moment, the door opens, and
Fuck.
in walks
Anne Woods, no.
Megan.
Alika.
no,
Sorry.
Fiona Montoulet.
and
Fucking
in
doppelganger.
walks Megan Montoulet, who we've seen before.
I knew it.
Oh,
Dem titties.
This
though.
bitch.
Called it.
Bitch. Fucking horrible.
Ezra looks at her and says, "What are you doing here?"
I was going to ask you the same thing.
I drink here.
Am I not allowed?
You're welcome to drink here if you wish. It is a free city.
I am more or less
Kel
not here to-
stops.
She kind of standing there. Go ahead, say what you're gonna say, Kel.
Stops playing music.
Well, it worked out perfectly with me stopping the music.
Record scratch.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
She,
yeah.
she
Break a
kind,
string.
kind of looks to you all and says, "I'm not really here for that, though. I'm more here to deal with the matter that we didn't really get to deal with a while ago. I'm looking for someone."
Ruben's sitting off to the side, away from the group, which is actually, I mean, he's kind of keeping to himself. He doesn't really know this place, so unless she knows Ruben's with the group now,
She doesn't.
then yeah. All right, so I'm just listening in, kind of.
She says, the last person who saw the person I'm looking for was you.
You who?
She's looking to your group.
Well, to be honest, we haven't seen very many people for about a year or so, but feel free to ask.
Fiona Woods.
Haven't seen her in over a year.
The last time I saw Fiona, she was on the top of a building. And, and then he just sort of trails off.
Make a deception check.
So he's not lying. He's just drinking.
He didn't know.
Oh, he didn't know
At
the
the
plot.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah,
know.
you didn't let him in on
So-
the plot. Don't make a deception check.
That's exactly why I said it's best if you don't know.
He was just
Look at
like, he was just like
For
speaking off the
Hezron,
top of his head,
it was
and then he was
Fiona.
like, "Oh shit, that's incriminating." So then he just stopped talking and started drinking.
The last any of us knew, as far as I'm aware, is that she was returning to the library. It has been, from what I've been told, a year since then. And we've only just returned to the city.
What do you mean you've only just returned to the city and you say that a year has passed? Explain yourselves.
Well,
I am
We got trapped on another plane.
6 days turned into a year.
Stop!
Apparently.
Stop talking! Do not tell her anything.
Oops, sorry.
You, get out of here.
She looks at Hazra just kind of annoyed. Like her arms are crossed underneath her huge tracts of land. And she's just
I
kind of...
believe they're referred to as large proper nouns because we've discussed
Huge,
that's what
large
people need to pick
proper
up on as plot point.
Fair. That's fair. And it's also not a direct reference to Monty Python, which makes the game more serious.
Love
She's
it.
kind of staring at you for a moment, Hezrod, and almost as if she's not even concerned with what you said, she says, "The dread plane of Hero Rockscale," to Kel, or whoever said we were on another plane.
That was Estella.
To Estella, then.
Do you know of the plane?
Did you kill him?
No.
He's been a nuisance.
Wish I had.
He's been a nuisance for us for some time. I was hopeful that you and your group would have lucked into such a beneficial victory for us.
And it seems like for the first time in our sporadic relationship, we have common ground.
Great. We've been seeking out the cult that has been causing us issues, making a bad name for us.
No, we are not teaming up with the fucking Montules.
They seem to be making
don't
a
know
bad
that.
name for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Our
If you want
eyes,
Hezron to
Seem
literally
very
go
pleasant.
nuclear, yes, we can pursue that course of action.
our
It's
eyes,
the only way that's going to go.
Our eyes in other districts have been being shut out. And she gestures towards Avren, who's still standing underneath the lantern. She definitely is referencing that, which is a
Good.
problem because someone else is growing their influence, and they are
Who's doing?
assuredly responsible for the death cult. I don't
So
know.
Hezron's kind of listening in. And he says, "Is this problematic for House Montule?"
It's problematic for the city.
Hmm.
So
Are people
who-
being hurt? Well, death cults are not good.
if you've been
Damn it!
if you've been to that dread plane, then you understand what we understand, and that's people's souls have been migrated into this place to feed this dread lord. That's not our desire. If souls are to be taken, they're to be taken and sent to where they're supposed to go in the afterlife. It is our hope that they will go to the afterlife that is most sacred to House Montule. Unfortunately, if they are being usurped and taken elsewhere, then that's a problem. And it has been a problem for us, as some of ours have made their way into that space. Unrecoverable now, unfortunately.
Good.
Seems to be common ground. I mean,
You'll,
we don't want that.
you'll forgive us if we are not exactly looking to work with you and
I'm not
yours, but-
wanting to work with you either. There was no offer of that on the table here. However, I do need to find Fiona Woods.
And
I
why
don't-
would that be?
Wish to hurt her. Her mother was also of the opinion that I was lying. But I, of course, will not try and sway you. To the contrary. However, I swear upon the corruptor himself that I do not mean her any harm.
You haven't said why though.
Mm.
You should probably tell us why you want to do that.
Because she's in danger.
From?
Herself.
Do you?
That tracks. I mean, that
It is,
Has she been looking at things again?
it is due in part to her actualization, which has been described to us in depth by Malika, your former associate, that her link to a very potent being is causing conflict in the stars.
how
About
is
not.
Malika,
Seymour?
by the way?
She's doing great. She's actually quite renowned in the city. She has started a hospital for House Montule and does great service regarding pediatrics and
Only takes one out of every, 100 babies or so.
no,
Malika is what QAnon thinks the Democrats are.
she says, no, we of course take them all. into the city and train them and raise them to be great citizens for the city of Nock.
Sounds like she has had many accomplishments since we last saw her.
She's doing wonderfully. Back to the point at hand, however, Fiona is not. It is due to her and her connection that entities such as the Lady of the Deep even entered into this space. But I'm sure she did not tell you that that was her fault, did she?
No.
God damn it. Is Hezrod going to have to kill Fiona too?
No, I'm not going to have you kill... If Josie wants to come back and fight you with Fiona, then I might allow it, but...
No, I'm just saying. It's like, here,
No.
have some knives and point them at your teammates.
Hold on, wait. Jisha, look at me. You are the only one that gets to kill this party with your former character. That's
Yeah,
it.
he's
I was just
typing out.
teasing.
They're typing out a heartbroken emoji right now.
Right.
Oh, fuck. The Warlocks are
They're
going to
big
team
mad.
up.
Oh no.
Anywho, focus
They're going
back
to... The Hex Girls attack.
on. It's very important that we know where she's located. I understand that if you are not willing to part with that information, fine.
I do not have that information to part with, fortunately.
Neither
is
do
a-
I.
A shame to hear that the city is going through such troubles. I would have hoped that one of the many powerful houses would have been able to deal with the death cult in our absence.
They're not interested in doing so.
Hezrod is thinking.
Most
He's
of,
thinking, and he says,
Does it hurt?
do you know that Doron has marked me?
what?
Reveal.
She doesn't seem to be like surprised or like, you know, taken like, oh wow. She just more like, what the fuck do you mean? Kind of like, what? Like annoyed more than
Oh, did Malika not tell you? A deal was struck, and he kind of glares at Soma. In that temple, when Doron seized the Atropol. And part of that deal was that Avred and I were marked by Durin.
That is your business with the corruptor. I have no...
Can you remove this mark?
You see her kind of confused for a second. She then starts raising her hands up to cast a spell. Does anybody
He
do
just
anything?
drinks and stares at her.
Is there normal people around in the Elms Woods right now?
You thought there were, but there don't appear to be except for, like, the waitstaff and Reuben. It's almost as if when she came in, they kind of disappeared or left.
Everett doesn't have counterspell, but can he grab her hand?
You can try to.
Okay.
I would raise the gun.
So
He's
rude.
been
No,
slowly
Avred.
loading.
Avran, it is okay. It's okay. Let her
like-
be.
He's like right there, and then he stops.
Let her be.
She casts the spell and her
Oh.
eyes start glowing bright blue. And she kind of stares at Avran and then kind of shifts and looks over at Hezrod. I don't know what you were told, but you do not have any divine or astral
I guess we can
marks
fuck with the Montalay.
present upon you.
All right. Gloves off, boys.
Gloves off. Let's go.
I was told by Durin that if I came into conflict with the Montulays, he would, he would appear and slay me.
Why would you want to come into conflict with the Montulay? Have we wronged you in some way?
It had more to do with Malika, and it was all very complicated.
She had said that there was no issue with you any longer. Other than the matter with Fiona.
What's the matter with Fiona?
She is connected to Raynak the Dead King, and due in part to that connection, she's causing other aberrant star gods to take focus on the city of Nock and the environs around. The Lady of the Deep rose up from the ocean, due in part to her scholarly transgressions.
What is so important about Nock?
Nothing, other than it housed the tome that she opened, and we were not made aware of until it had been used.
And
Did
where is
love
that
books.
tome? So do they seek the tome?
No, it's... She shakes her head. Obviously, it's a bit complicated, and it doesn't seem like you're understanding. I just want to make sure you understand the basics. That way we can work from there towards an amicable end for everyone.
Okay, so let me take this out of character for a second. Fiona basically opened a book in Nock and it created a beacon.
So the reason why she's a warlock is because she read a scroll she wasn't supposed to.
Mm.
It's in her backstory. If she were here, this would have been the moment where it's like, oh shit. But unfortunately,
Whoopsie.
it's a
She got,
Magic.
she got work to do.
no worries.
Yeah, but now I'm just trying to. Now I'm just like, so what is drawing them to Nock? If it's not Fiona and it's not the scroll,
It's
Oh.
Raynak.
It's Raynak the Dead King, yeah.
Yeah.
In the
It's-
Dread
it's the
Realm that's sort of-
patron.
He's not in the Tread Realm.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
he
No,
wasn't.
he's out. He's
Right.
out now.
Raynak wasn't.
I thought that big purple eye was Raynak.
Yeah, it was.
That
Some,
was
He's
the Dread Realm.
released, baby.
some people may be paying attention. Some people may not be paying attention. But you know who
No.
else is currently still in the Dread Realm? You.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in both.
It was
We're
an echo of Raynak that
simultaneously
we
in
let
both.
go.
Most places that connect to the
Oh.
plane of shadow
Yeah.
leave echoes. Echo
Mhm.
knights create their own echo, use their own echo, and generate it out from themselves using the plane of shadow. Like,
Yeah, we're technically still there.
Yeah.
Being tortured.
Probably.
Well, we would know if we were being tortured. Currently, we're just there.
Well, now I know why somebody burned the
Here.
Library of Alexandria.
It was definitely a
yeah, you know,
weird connect the
you know.
dots moment, but I get the logic behind it. Yeah.
It was a good one. It was a good one though.
Oh no. So you would prefer her alive, I suppose.
Definitely. So
I
And
I
you
mean,
plan to keep her alive, yes?
if necessary, yes.
All right.
More than likely so. But I just want to make sure I
Still.
understand. It did seem like you were under the impression that we have it out for you.
I have no issue with you.
Okay.
Them, on the other hand.
I just want to make sure we're not in bad graces. I would hate for you to be ill towards us for a reason I could dispel through conversation.
I think it's less you. I think it's more the thing you worship.
Well, it is a very hard matter to describe to outsiders. And the fact that you
Yeah.
are aware of... Can you quit? The fact that you are aware of that entity's name is concerning, but something I assume was kind of gleaned through your travels with Malika.
Indeed.
And she
That's
says
one way to put it.
she can trust you.
She what to us?
She says she can trust you.
Yes. God damn it, Tom.
That was big.
You like it.
You're having too much fun. I'm trying to be serious for a moment.
Was she referring to Soma?
When?
No, she
No,
was.
when she said when Malika said she can trust you.
Group. Whole
She
group.
meant us.
Group.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone here.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, whatever. I've this. God damn it! Somebody just point me at a nail, please.
So
Um.
I just want to be sure. We are in search of Fiona. We would prefer her to come to us willingly, but if we have to continue to seek her out, we will use more drastic means to find her. And
If she is unwilling, if we find her and she is unwilling to settle this confrontation or this matter that she has started, will you leave her be, or are you going to continue to track her down?
we will continue to track her down. Unfortunately, her
What would you like to communicate to Fiona?
it's not so much about a communication, but a severance. She is connected to something she should not be connected to.
If that connection were severed,
So much the better.
then the matter is settled.
Can you
If that were to
this
happen,
connection?
Correct.
Hmm.
let's see what we can
You wish to
do.
take her powers away,
No.
then.
We do not wish to take her powers away. We wish to sever her bond with Raynak. These are very different matters entirely.
Who is we?
The Montule.
So it's
Hmm.
more of a
Isn't-
transfer of powers.
We do not want her powers.
Well, I mean, of
I
her.
think they just don't want her being
I don't
connected
understand
to
magic.
whatever
No, I
god she's connected
understand.
to at the moment.
I
That's
understand that, but aren't all of her powers connected to Renick?
If they are, then they are. Then yes, I suppose you would be accurate in saying that we are taking all of her powers. I did not know she was so limited.
No, no,
I mean, I
no, no,
thought-
no, no.
I thought she was a wizard.
Fiona is a wizard.
That's what I thought too. I thought she was a wizard.
Is she?
That was my impression.
Soma will just let out a very weary sigh.
I don't think I'm going to get much further here without being aggressive. And I don't think being aggressive is something that either of us would truly enjoy.
I would rather not get
Yeah,
aggressive
yeah,
in this tavern.
You really,
I would rather
you really
not
wouldn't
get
like it.
I
Yeah,
would
You
Ezra
really wouldn't.
He kind of shrugs and makes like a meh noise.
I would rather not get aggressive with any of you at all. And then she switches to perfect Elvish immediately after to deal and tangle with House Mountain Loss is obviously a foolish errand. And then
You are smart.
she snaps back to the common tongue and says, "If you find Fiona, tell her to come to House Montule. I am not commanding you to do so. This is a request. We will continue to seek her out. If we find her, we will sever her connection. If you find her and you have means to do so, sever her connection. If she has left the city of Nock, wherever she is gone, she brings doom."
Oh no.
Understandable.
What kind of doom?
The same doom that she brought here, apparently.
She
No,
look-
Hezrod knows. He's trying to cover his tracks.
She looks to Hezrod and she says, "I'm assuming those scars are burns that you received from the hide of the Lady of the Deep?"
No. It's the chaos of Atavius.
And I'm assuming that you are a coral merfolk. So I'm assuming that you've at least heard reports from months ago of the Lady of the Deep attacking settlements off the coast. Is that right?
Months ago?
Months ago.
Years ago. A couple of years ago.
Oh,
Yes, that sounds more accurate.
Sorry, did I say months ago? My brain did a dumb.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
and then my brain did a double dump.
Don't confuse us, John.
I got distracted by people talking in the background.
Timey-wimey.
Can we stop with the fucking Street Fighter pictures, for fuck's sake?
Yeah, please.
It's a little
Sorry.
annoying.
So after she says that,
God damn it.
Sorry, I missed that. There were distractions in the hallway.
it's okay. I'm going full banhammer on this shit.
I helped.
Oh no.
Would it be better to bring you to Fiona?
Either way is fine.
We will seek Fiona out and hopefully get this matter settled for all of us.
I clicked out on so many things that actually said report this person to trust and safety.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
I'm not gonna.
No.
Please no.
No, I'm not doing
Report
it. Obviously, I'm
You
not
should
doing
see
it.
the other guy.
You should see the other guy. Anyhow,
In a second, reported.
Report John to.
she says, either way is fine. I do not care how we get into contact with her to sever her from her connection, but we need to do so as soon as possible.
Of course. And this is also for her own safety, is it?
Sure.
Perhaps.
Sure. She is a citizen. She's
Not believing her from here on out now.
she is a citizen of Nock, so presumably by its defense, she will be protected as well.
Is her dad in here? I know that.
No. She and Lev.
Yeah.
It's just a waiter behind the desk. She says, finally, she says, also, I will have you know, there are eyes all throughout the city. Be wary. Anywhere there are the stones of Gravesend, there are potential for you to be overheard. I would prefer that they, whoever is behind those ears and eyes, is not aware of Fiona's location, for I believe it is their goal to pervert the link instead of sever it.
Are they the ones connected with this hero? Do you believe?
I cannot say for certain.
Are there any of those stones in this room?
No.
Cool.
And the house is built out of-
Hezrod kind of waves. He waves to the barkeep,
Mhm.
and then like very quietly just asks him for something to write on.
Okay. Granted.
Make it.
It's
Make
great.
What?
Sorry, Averin, go ahead.
You are opposed to Hero, as is your house.
Yes. The perversion of death is not our desire. Corruption is not something we think has to do with that kind of mentality. Of course, you traveled with Malika. You understand a bit of how corruption works. It's about the corruption of the living. Taking things outside of their will is pointless. Corruption requires consent.
Indeed, it does.
Does your house not have powerful items or fighters at their disposal
We do.
to end Hero?
We don't. We have
Also,
sent...
Avren, just because they may have fighters, whether capable or not, does not mean that they may be disposable.
We have sent
Wait a second.
We have sent envoys to treat with the lord of that place.
Yeah, he's not much for talking, is he?
Unfortunately, we don't know for certain how those engagements went because our associates never returned.
Well, as some friendly advice, since you have been so diplomatic in this encounter, he does not talk. He does not negotiate or bargain. Very short-sighted. Stupid fucking lizard god.
I think it depends on who you are.
Could I use prestidigitation to make a sentence appear on a piece of paper?
Your book is disappearing.
Huh?
Your book is disappearing. I do like the attempt
Josh.
to use a prop, but your book keeps blending into the background.
There you go. There you
There,
go.
don't move. Prestidigitation to do what?
Like make a sentence appear on a piece of paper?
You can use a pen. She gave you a pen and paper. You asked for it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm also reading prestidigitation, and I think, okay,
It's cooler
well,
with magic, John.
it is cooler with magic and much more convenient. But that's fine. He takes the pen and the paper and he moves over to the fire and he sits down. And as he kind of moves, he kind of waves at Estella to
Does anybody else address Megan?
Go.
No, to come with me.
Does anybody else address Megan?
Assuming
Um,
nobody else is, Soma will say, again, I appreciate this encounter being much more diplomatic than the other. I don't know where Fiona is. I don't know if anybody else does, but I will keep it in mind, and perhaps if our paths cross again, it can remain somewhat amicable, regardless of past conflicts.
I will grant you one piece of information, one last piece of information that might be of some assistance to you. If the stones and bricks are being manipulated, it's undoubtedly the case that a member of House Gravesend or House Calyx are the parties responsible.
Shit.
The assumption is that they are the ones that might be the masterminds behind the death cult. It has gone to ground of late, but that's due in part to other matters in the city that have arisen.
Those matters.
Workers being unsatisfied with their current lot in life, even though they are very well treated.
That does seem to be the talk of the city. I mean, we've only been back here for a matter of hours, and this seems to be all that anybody's talking about.
Who else have you talked to?
Here in the streets, when we arrived.
Just random passerbys talking about political matters that affect the houses at current? Interesting. I should probably pay more attention to the passerbys instead of looking down my nose at them.
You'd be surprised what you can learn.
Indeed.
You've taught me humility, servant of Dagot. She shrugs. If you find Fiona, please, I implore you, reach out to me. You will be allowed entrance into House Montalais, and you will be taken directly to my chambers, where I will greet with you, or I will treat with you immediately upon your arrival. I appreciate your political nature as well, and your decision to talk rather than brandish weaponry.
Hell puts his gun down.
She heads out, unless, again, one last note on anybody talking to her. Nobody, nothing?
Everyone has one more question.
Sure.
On the topic of Hero Rockscale, is there a way we can fight him outside of his domain?
I'm going to try not to sound condescending when I say this, but I highly doubt that is truly something you would want to do if you were aware of what you were asking to do.
No, we are painfully aware of his skills and his strength. But I was asking if there was a way.
No, I apologize. You misapprehended what I had stated. You're asking in your Josh, mute yourself when you step away, you turkey.
Gobble gobble.
When he comes back, I'm gonna yell at him. I'm gonna yell at him right
There
now. He's putting on his headset. If you walk away from your mic, mute yourself so that I'm not hearing your conversation.
It was a real quick thing.
No
and
worries, no worries.
I'm currently on the mercy of my phone. So
It's okay. I just want to make sure if you're saying anything, I don't want
Right.
everyone to hear what's going on in Joshland. Also, it's really loud. Anyways, back to what I was saying, which was
Yes.
the thing about oh right. What you were asking is to sever a dreadlord from a dread plane. That's not something that you engage in lightly.
Mm.
There's a specific balance in the plane of shadow. One that we very much care about. One that's being perverted, yes, but one we cannot deal with in a shorthand manner that you're suggesting. You cannot just tear a dreadlord from a dread realm. They are one and the same.
So if he comes, the Dread Realm comes.
More or less.
I see. Shit.
She turns and walks out at that, leaving you to you and yours. Oh, another factor I want to point out too. Those of you who saw her last, you saw her. It's been a year. Doesn't look like she's changed at all.
Mm.
Literally doesn't look like she's aged at all.
Still a
Same.
bombshell.
Still a bombshell.
I need that skincare routine from her.
Yeah, it's a
Just-
very simple method of, swearing yourself to the demon prince of corruption.
Also, maybe
Let's go.
sacrificing
Let's
babies,
do
you know,
it.
whatever.
Malika,
I need
Malika,
a baby.
Malika's just like, "Here. Let's go.
You should have just
queen."
led with that. It would have been a lot easier to convert some people, maybe.
You pledge to the
Sorry.
deceiver. You turn into a lizard. You pledge to the corruptor.
true.
You just eternal youth.
No, you don't pledge to the deceiver and become a lizard. You pledge to the deceiver and you become a dreadlord.
So
You just get more
Varwayne,
close.
Saying now.
Varwayne's an Elvish province, correct?
Varhuin is an elvish province, correct?
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I
No.
wasn't just sharing this information with the completely wrong person.
Sure.
Yeah.
A quick note too. I just want to point this out. It's very important. So you'll see that Varhuin province is there. Varhuin
There.
province, like other provinces, has cities in it and has established places. And it is technically the Elvish province. But there are no Elvish cities save one. Because elves don't keep cities.
Yeah.
The city of Talanya is the only Elvish city in all of
But-
ENA.
Is that where Severius Academy is?
That is where Savarius Academy is located, correct?
Right.
And that is how far it is.
Yeah, he didn't want to share this information in the open, and he shared it with Estella because obviously
Well,
Fiona's presence there put elves in danger.
quick note: do you want to do anything?
Not
before
her
you,
elves, though.
Do you want to do anything before you start talking about it, even after she's gone? Is there anything you want to do before that point?
Oma will suggest that here clearly is not as private as it once was. Estella and I know somewhere that while public is perhaps less prone to eyes and ears of those like we've just met.
I feel as if this entire fucking city isn't safe anymore.
It never, it
Well, I
never
don't
really
know.
was.
It is
Hezrod's
true.
kind of fond of the fact that. Megan Montalay, she mentioned this Roland Brannis.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, she didn't say his name.
Yeah, just Union guy. Might I
Oh.
suggest that we leave here to discuss some things?
Would be nice to get out of the city again.
What if we whisper?
I don't. That might work in some circumstances, Kel, but they seem to be listening quite closely.
So were these lanterns that that they were referring to, those are Montoulet things. They're like Montoulet spycraft stuff.
That's what she just inferred. Yeah.
Oh, we should find and smash all of them.
But something she did infer also that something was interfering with them.
You know, that's a page right out of Fiona's book. Let's destroy property that the Montoulet are definitely watching.
Yeah.
It's
Let's kick
Big
down this
Montoya.
door and then let's break all those lanterns. And
Big Montley is
But
watching.
did she not say that something was interfering with them?
in specific parts of the city, she said. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it,
somebody
Okay.
is going around interfering with them.
Yeah.
And so there's two sets. There's the Gravesend bricks, like we've seen in some places, and then there are some Montoulet things like this. So
Correct.
shall we go get some air?
What was shit? What was the thing that it was made out of, the bricks? Mycelium?
mm,
Thank you.
Mushroom parts.
Mhm.
mushroom.
It's a thi-
Mushroom roots.
yeah, it's a thing in real life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's the
Well, the bricks. too.
mycelium. Mm-hmm.
Yep, they got mycelium bricks that they
Mm-hmm.
make. Pretty cool.
I'll be honest, I would have rather visited the Mind Flayers than
Same.
come back to Knock and deal with all this bullshit.
Fucking same.
You know,
Are we
I'll be honest.
we
I've-
leaving
No.
town?
Mind flavors are bad.
I've been sitting on Ratacorda for a while, and yeah, I definitely want to just eat a whole fucking party's brains. That does sound dope.
No, we
But
have
we
friends.
have a best friend.
Yeah, we have a friend.
Who just so happens to also probably want to eat our brains.
Yeah.
Kel's like, huh? What? Excuse me? Who is this fella?
We befriend another group that's in a different session and lead them there.
Yeah.
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 You guys get to the
Yeah.
last
See,
mage, right?
Now you're cooking with gas. That's the way to go. Murder other
Hey,
people's
guys.
And they
parties.
sabotage us all the time, right?
That would totally be Friday game.
Hey, Tuesday.
That would we would do that.
Hey, Tuesday
About-
game. Let's
About that fresh air.
fresh air.
Yes. I think that is a grand idea.
So are we to leave the city again, or do we stay?
There's a location that I would like you to check out again, Avran.
Where's that?
I'll lead you there.
Okay.
Well, what's the name of it?
Are you heading there?
Wait,
Where is it?
Why is this so hard?
Are
One
we
of my-
leaving the city
No.
or are we going to a
Soma
place?
is
Just go.
leaving
Just
and
go.
beckoning people to come because you can't say the name of the secret location
My
in a room
carriage.
full of listening devices.
my
We'll come
carriage.
back for it.
Just why don't you just
Correct.
why don't you just tell us where we're going here while we're
Yeah.
being listened to?
I
yeah.
thought you said there were none of those bricks in this room.
No, there are no bricks in this room.
But
There's
There's
the
the
lantern
lantern.
that they heard
That's how
you
she
with.
showed up immediately after we all
The
got
second
here.
Where-
you started partying and hanging out here, they dispatched her. Like,
Oh, that's
Where-
fair. Oh, but
where's my-
Avran's already identified that lantern.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, so
How high
it's
off the
slow
ground
to-
is it?
not
Are you
that
really
high.
gonna break Fiona's parents' tavern?
I mean, they are
Just-
apparently going to
just
be
try
selling
it.
it fairly quickly.
I
Yeah.
haven't figured
Collect
out what I was
insurance
going to
money.
do with it. I was going to get it down first. Maybe I break it in the street. Maybe I stick it in a barrel of water. I don't know. Maybe I hang it up a couple blocks away and make it somebody else's problem.
Where was my carriage last we saw it?
Here.
It was parked.
It's
Yeah.
probably
You-
put up
you
on cinder
parked.
blocks with just
Yeah.
bare axles at this point.
Yeah, actually, probably.
I will say Hezron does look a little upset that like Soma's first inclination is to say don't break it. Hezron's like, meh.
If it were anywhere else.
It was here, but if you go and check to see if it is here, it is not here.
Shit.
Wasn't
I'm
it
gonna go
being
back
paid for
in.
by the church, right?
I don't
I think it
remember.
was. That was the session I first listened.
It was the
So
church.
that was the
Okay.
one
So
that we
we're
stole.
going, right? We follow Soma.
Oh yeah, that was the one. Yeah, we follow
Estella's
Soma.
following Soma.
Does
Yeah.
Soma still have an auto carriage?
Hoofing it.
Hezron's going to quickly motion for a refill before following them.
Sure.
We don't have to hoof it. We could take the sky rail.
The Skyrail.
It's not that far.
Oh, okay.
Where do you take him, Soma?
To the Temple of Ashtar.
You step outside the front of the Temple of Ashtar.
I'll kind of make a little gesture to Avran to do the thing again.
I do the thing.
No, nothing nearby.
Okay.
Are there any of those bricks around?
Nope.
Nothing of either. So
They
This
they
is-
should ping if they had been.
No, the bricks wouldn't. Just
Oh,
the
they
lanterns.
wouldn't?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you
good
don't-
to know.
You don't know for sure. If you want to try and test that, you can. But
We know what the bricks look like, right?
yeah, you know what the bricks look like. You don't know what the bricks that see or hear look like.
Oh,
Right.
true. Fair. Okay.
it's but I assume in front of the temple is there some of those bricks or no? Is it-
None.
okay,
Brick is old
yeah,
stone.
Nice.
Yeah. So this should be a safe enough place other than the more traditional means of spying. Clearly, a lot has changed in this past 6 days / year, and Ruben, welcome to the political hellscape of Nock.
Oh, I'm very much aware.
I
Well,
hate it here.
It has certainly
I
not
miss the
gotten any better.
river.
Miss
It's-
being dead.
Oh,
Let Tom talk.
It seems as though there are quite a few intersecting plots, so to speak, here. There is that Union man that the Montalais referred to, and that Estella and I were warned of by another fellow that many of the houses of Nock don't seem to like, and it seems as though many of the houses of Nock are plotting in some capacity, regardless of what it means for the citizens. A year on, I don't know that any of us have particularly strong ties to this city, but I told you when we left Dark Flame that my goal was to destroy Heroes infrastructure here. I don't have any interest in working with the Montalais. It seems like our goals may align, but I don't particularly care about that either. But it seems like all of the houses are concerned about this Union man, so I think I will potentially find out some more about this Union man and see which side of the fence he falls on. But I am open to other suggestions,
I believe.
especially ones that involve destroying House Harrigan and this fabricator.
All I know is L'Oreal has been gone for 8 months, and the last known whereabouts are in Sifford's Pass. I know that doesn't help us at all, but she was one of the ones to help us.
So she is
And-
missing.
Yes.
Interesting.
And Saphira was her last known whereabouts. Oh, well, sorry, not Saphira. But there is a sect that I can return this item to in Onamouth.
That's not terribly far away.
Ruben, do you have any contacts that haven't died of old age in the past year?
Well, with everything going on, I haven't made contact yet. I had hoped to do that shortly. Obviously, the representatives in the church I was working with are not here. I do need to link back up with Rosnold to see if any of the affairs with a certain task I was about to go on before I got mixed up with, well, all of this came to be. I might glean something from that as well, but for the most part, I have no new information at the moment.
Avran, House Rosnald seemed fairly trustworthy when you went to speak with them about the Harrigan matter.
Yes, a year ago.
Chad, are you around?
Doesn't seem like.
He is AFK.
No, I'm here. Sorry.
He is not AFK.
I was smoking.
Kitty
Got it.
butt.
Kitty. That's not kitty belly, not a kitty butt.
That's a lot of soup.
That's
It's
a lot of soup.
That's a lot of soup.
it's more a haunch than anything else. Like you can see,
Haunch.
Big chunker.
it's the front side.
Skilch.
He no chunk. He's a baby
He's
bear.
slim.
Chunk.
Where's the chunky baby?
Hey, I know a guy.
I want to see the chunky baby.
Hezrod kind of fumbles in his bag and pulls out his calling stone, and he pulls it out and notices it has some Eric on it. And he's like, ugh! And he just like blasts it with a little bit of fire. Like shakes it off, wipes it on his clothes, and then he says, Anton, are you there? It is Hezrod.
So
Can you hear me?
Interestingly, no reply, but more specifically, there's typically a ping when it does connect with someone. It doesn't do that. Like there is no contact.
He must still be out of the city. Hopefully, I'm assuming.
What time of day is it, John?
It's
Eve-
yeah,
Late afternoon, evening, right?
correct.
Hezrod, how do you feel about being intimidating? Good God.
I don't like the sound of this, but what do you have in mind?
I was going to suggest that some of you go to check in with House Rosnald to follow up on some of those things that you were mentioning, Ruben, and I would go with my friend Hezrod here to gather some information on this union situation. I've spent enough time in noble circles to know, as I told Megan, that sometimes from high on up you don't get the actual story, but some of those situations are a little dangerous, so I'd like to bring my menacing friend here along with me.
Fair enough.
I think I'd rather
Hezrod kind
go
of like
with the.
stands up and like puffs out his chest.
The
I think I'd
library
rather go to the Union spot if we're.
A noble and 2 fish, that sounds like quite the adventure.
I do have a gun and a spider. And he points to a cure on his back.
I know it's not great for us all to split up, but there is quite a lot of information to gather here.
We do have a whole year's worth of information to gather in the matter of a couple of days.
I say much for the nobles. I'll say it outright.
Fair enough.
I mean, Soma, you're great, but you're awesome. But I'd rather, do what you guys are doing rather than go to a noble house.
They're directing their noble ire at the wrong people. Also, to make sure you understand, the houses are not like typical nobility. They are a bit
Yeah.
different.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kel doesn't understand that. He just thinks that they're all rich. They're all super rich.
And annoying, yeah.
Yeah. So he's just like, I want to go. I'll go to the union thing.
Okay.
Mr. Rubin, do you think you would need some assistance?
With gathering information?
Well, that and protection, just in case.
If you'd like to come along, you may. Or you can go along with Soma.
I'll go with Reuben, just in case.
Go with Ruben. I feel like I'd fit in there more.
Okay. So Ruben and company are heading towards House Rosnald, and the
Yeah.
rest are just kind of entering into the city and searching for any
Can I-
contact or information.
Can I
regarding
make
them.
up an old contact that you then have to roleplay?
Got
Yeah.
him.
What's the name of the contact?
Four-fingered Freddy. He used to be a thief, and he got caught and lost one of his fingers. So they call him Four-Finger Freddy. Except there's some debate because it was one of his actual fingers, and some people think a thumb isn't a finger. So some people call him Three-Finger Freddy, but it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well. But after getting caught as a thief, now he just kind of brokers high-level information as
Sure,
opposed
sure.
to.
Neat.
And is Freddy a Osirian, or is he some other different race?
I think Four-Finger Freddy is probably a gnome of some kind.
Okay. Yeah. So you're able to kind of get in contact with Four Finger Freddy. He's located kind of on the north side of the Magic District. He deals mostly in kind of trade in and around the Steel and Magic District, last you recall, and it seems like a year, of existence has kind of progressed to the point where you see him in his regular regalia, regular attire, in his regular spot. The only difference is that you notice that both hands now seem to be missing fingers. Looks like he
Jesus.
has a thumb and a index finger missing from one hand, and the other hand appears to be missing a pinky.
Damn.
Hey, long time no see, especially in this attire. What brings you around?
I've been out of the city for quite a while, and I know there's nobody that knows the city quite as well as my good friend. What do you go by now?
I don't know. Freddy's fine. I typically don't give a shit about the monikers people give me. Fucking assholes making fun of my disability.
Yeah, the people of Nock just wow. I can't believe somebody would call you that, would they? That's just horrible.
Right. Just because I got fingered.
Crazy.
Are there any-
Fingered.
Where's this meeting taking place?
It's in a marketplace. Just a small little venue that's kind of built inside. It's like inside of a building. Best way I can kind of give you the visual. You've been to like a food court. So imagine that food court is filled with the kiosks that you see throughout a mall.
Cool. Can I get like a big ass ham hock that Hezrod can just eat menacingly?
There's less food present, but I assume there would probably be a food vendor nearby. Yeah, sure. I would say probably not ham though.
It's Euros.
No, it's actually like a weird meat-like product, but they tell you it's
Ashy pudding.
calyx is what
What?
they call it.
What was it called?
Calyx, just like the name of the house, Calyx. And you're not familiar with it, and you ask. The vendor says, "Oh, it's they make it out of plant material, and we sell it. It's really cheap, but it tastes just like meat."
What? No,
That's Impossible Burger.
like the bricks.
What? No,
They make it out of plant material, like the bricks.
it's not like bricks. You can eat it. You can't eat bricks, crazy merfolk. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, get it away from me.
Hezrod, it's okay. Here, take some of this, and I'll reach into the bag of beholdering, and I'll pull out.
No, he says, "You touched it. I can't resell that. You have to give me the money for it."
He stuffs the food in his mouth and then starts fumbling for his coins.
It's insanely good, and it has a texture that's very meat-like.
Freddy, have you met my hammer?
No, I can't believe that. Say I have. Seems like an interesting enough fellow, I guess.
It's usually good to not meet the hammer. Regardless,
Wait, are you threatening me?
No, I'm not threatening you. His
Are we
presence
threatening
is just
him?
kind of a threat, and
Dude,
no,
no.
it's just
Is it now the time?
So
No, we're
Do we
paying
do
for
it
our
now?
food.
Oh,
It's been a very long time, Freddy. You know how you fall in with people, and
Sure.
regardless, I'm not here for brick meat.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's been a lot going on with the noble houses lately. More,
Usually is. Nothing changes.
I keep hearing about unions.
Oh, sure. He gestures over to a bulletin board that has a bunch of different like flyers out upon it, and you would see that there's one that appears to have a very large kind of it's a horseshoe that appears to be kind of up, and in the middle of the horseshoe is a hammer.
Simple.
Yeah, it's the Union of City Workers, I believe they call it. Union of Workers.
And what's kind of the opinion in the city? I mean, that's quite.
Oh,
a
I'm a
change
part
from
of it.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of benefits?
No, it's great. So, normally when I'm actually engaging in mediatory business and not talking to your ilk, I'm up and I try to keep an air of professionalism and genuinity to me. So I have all my papers in order and everything, and being a part of the union for me has proven great because it means I have connections within the union, and most union individuals who are doing their business here in this specific marketplace aren't terribly keen on dealing with house-related businesses. And so it seems that some people are calling the union the 11th house. But I think it sounds stupid, so I just call it the union, because that's easier and not dumb.
Hezron, what do you think of that?
I think that is very good. I do not like the houses.
Oh yeah, neither do we. Our main problem with the houses hasn't been really, I mean, to be fair, the union treats us just as well. But the thing is that a lot of work wasn't work we got to choose. And so, when we were engaged in businesses, we never really get to take the means of production for ourselves. And so that's what Baranus has really brought forward to the equation.
That's cruel.
How did he manage?
It is.
How did he manage such a thing? And I mean, the Order of Knock has been going on for what feels like forever.
I'll be honest, I wasn't there at the inception. It was whispers at first, and then the next thing I know, everyone's talking about it. And then the next thing I know, people are refusing to treat with me and deal business with me because I'm not a part of the union. So I signed right the fuck up.
Sounds like smart business.
Yeah. But are you interested in it for reasons? Because I know the houses are hiring people to get more information for reasons. Are you one of those types?
Stoma will hold up his bare wrist. We are kind of free agents, so to speak.
Well, I'll let you know that we go back, you and I. And I will tell you...
Sorry, John, it's taking a lot of willpower for me to not be like, I remember when you were five-fingered Freddy, but I'm not going to...
That's when I gave you discounts. 5-finger discounts.
The whole business model went out the window after that day, but,
Defenestrated the fuck out of it, yeah.
It technically still has 5 fingers.
It's true, it just takes...
All right. Semantics.
Just not on the same hat.
He has more than 5. But less than 10. But
My grandpa only has 5.
About less than 8.
that's dope.
Total?
Good lord.
Yep. Chainsaw. Actually, meat grinder accident.
John,
Oh, shit.
See, he needed a union, like
Look,
this brand.
Mine's got 7, but this isn't a competition.
The
I'm
trouble.
sorry that I abused the "you speak a character, it exists."
No, it's fine.
rule.
You know, guys, a rule that we've had since the inception, so good using it. But I do want to cut back to what Elizabeth said and kind of ridicule her for a moment, because she did say, yeah, it was a chainsaw accident. Wait, no, not that time. It was a meat grinder accident, as if he has fucked up with a chainsaw and at
Well,
another point fucked up with a
with
meat
that
grinder. I just want to
trigger,
make sure.
I mean,
He lost. Okay, so he lost one to the chainsaw, and then he lost the other four
Sorry.
to a meat
I
grinder.
couldn't leave that.
It's insane.
I couldn't
It's
leave that.
insane.
Like, 'cause
I know.
if only he had a union.
You know, it's honestly not as bad as
What
my
union?
woodshop teacher, who was missing his fingers were like this on his left hand, which
Crazy.
you would usually use to feed
Wait.
the wood through.
Yeah.
But
That's-
he got those shot off with a shotgun,
What the fuck?
and it wasn't wood
Neat.
shop related at all.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Oklahoma, where you might lose some fingers.
Is that the chunky boy, baby?
That's the chunky boy.
Hit him? It is.
Look at all that
That's him.
soup.
Oh my god.
That's him.
Do you see it? Look at
Junk!
the soup.
That's
What?
some good soup.
That's
What kind of soup is it?
It's a
It's ham soup.
because he's a baby pig. He's a piggy baby. Anyway, back to what was
Ready.
what was I saying?
Something about the unions.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
unions.
He says that I'm not really interested in you doing anything that would be ill towards. I don't want to help you if you're a problem. This is actually a good thing that's going here.
Of course, I mean, you know that I have been well connected in the past, and I have done a lot of work. I can tell you with honesty, as I always try to do with you, that I have accepted no job.
Yeah, so if you're interested in getting more information, you can talk directly to the leader of it, if you're interested.
Again, it sounds like that is the biggest thing going on in Nock right now, and I am kind of well, all of us, I suppose, are kind of rudderless ships at the moment looking for a direction. So if this is the biggest thing going on in the city and they are not in line with the houses, I would assume that
Well-
sounds interesting to my fellows here.
I'll tell it to
Mission
you.
fellows?
I'll tell it to you how it was told to me. If you're interested in meeting with Mr. Brennis, you can head on up to the Green District. There's a small little cafe bistro of sorts called the Inky Mushroom. It's back behind the Halloween Temple a ways. But if you go there and treat with the people who are employed there, I keep using the word treat and I should probably stop. It's more of a fancy noble word. If you speak to the people there, I believe the owner is related to Mr. Brannis, and I believe he spends a lot of time there. And if he's there, he'll talk to you. Just tell him Fred sent you.
Not to interrupt, but how much was the food?
Oh, probably 2 silver.
Did Kel get some as well?
Could have.
John?
Yeah, he could have.
Other John, did Kel get some food as well?
And sorry, was it Freddy selling the food, or was it
Oh, I'm
Some
okay.
other guy. Some other guy. I
That
tried to
sound like Freddy.
differentiate. Yeah, differentiate. the
He,
ones.
he's just Kel's just kind of putting his hand into the bag of beholdering and just like, no, I'm
Right, there's
good.
some jerky in there.
I'm
That's
good.
fair.
I was gonna offer
Here.
you venison, but you ate whatever the hell that was.
Here, Hezrod, and Soma will hand Hezrod a coin and for you.
Oh, he's already paid for it. He's like almost done with it. He's been inhaling the shit out of it.
It's expenses. I'm sure the union rep will discuss it later. We're gonna
Okay.
meet with them. I have to follow. Is
So
that right, Freddy? We
Soma
have to all
spends
follow.
2 silver.
That movie was so. That movie was so stupid. Anyway,
You know what scene that is right after that.
yeah.
You know
yeah.
exactly what scene that is.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
Horses ejaculating aside, how do you want to go about this after? Sorry, did you have another question for him? I was distracted by
Gifts again, right?
Tom Green in the goddamn Discord. Well, they were just gonna shut Discord off.
I just shut it all down.
Did you have anything else you wanted to ask, Freddie?
I'm sorry, Freddie. What do I owe you for?
Good.
I appreciate our friendship as always.
Of course.
Stay out of trouble, eh?
It's not one of those anymore fingers. Do you want to head to the Inky Mushroom at Current, or do you want to wait?
I think I will head. You guys want to head back to the temple in the meantime while we let them, or let's actually head over to House Rosnal to see
Okay.
if we can. Bump into them.
We'll deal with Rosnald first before we get to that. Then, so Ruben, Avran, and Estella. That's interesting that we kind of split right down the middle of the screen. You three head to House Rosnald. Upon entering in, is there anyone in particular you're trying to reach in the house, or?
Could you remind me on the woman who we met at when we teleported in, who greeted us and told us that it was a year later?
Rhonda
Is it
Rosnald.
Rob? What was that?
Rhonda Rosnald.
Rhonda. Thank you. I hadn't gotten a chance to watch back to the end of the last session, so
No worries. If I show you a picture of a character, they'll have a handout, and typically where you found them is where they'll appear in the journal. You'll see that you'll
Okay.
have handouts, and then dramatis personae, and then it'll have a list of locations.
Yeah, I see. Got it.
Yep.
Perfect. I love it. Love to
Love
see
that.
it. Very organized. Love it. Taking notes there. So I'm seeking out Rhonda to find out more about the past,
Okay.
as it were.
Yeah, you find her easily enough. She shrugs and says, "I assumed you'd be on your way back. Did you find out enough about the city's current affairs to sate your curiosity for what you've missed?"
Well, I found out a lot. I'm not sure if it's sating any curiosity or just creeping more doom into my mind, but Ruben says with a tired voice, I'm more interested in, where our business last left. I believe we had some affairs that we were working toward together, toward Blackavon Lake.
Mhm.
Has there been much more movement in that section? Have you heard anything, or do you know of anything regarding that strange source of magic?
No. Unfortunately, we lost track of it. It seems to have terminated. It
As in
terminated.
ended.
Sorry, what'd you say?
As in ended.
Correct. It seems to have just no longer been an issue. It is close to when House Atavius, or sorry, the Church of Atavius put forth its notation that the death cult had been dealt with. House Rosnald is skeptical regarding that matter, but due in part to the political turmoil at current, we haven't really been able to focus our attentions back into that investigation whatsoever.
Interesting. Has anyone come looking for me in my absence?
No.
Good.
When we talked last, you had explained that you had not really presented yourself forward to any of the other houses. Does that remain true?
Correct. It does.
And does
I did interact briefly with the Monteleys, inspecting an auto carriage.
We are
But
aware of
that is about as far as I've interacted with other houses.
that. Of course. We want to be sure you had explained that your interest was to deal with the past sins of the conglomerate here. And I want to make sure that that end is still your goal.
It is always my goal. Yes.
Then we
There.
are aligned, but I wish to make sure you are aware that our assistance in your endeavors is a prerequisite. House Rosnald very much tires of the current political turmoil of the city of Nock. It is currently ruled by 9 despots who do what they wish and have no masters. I do not share their desire to allow the city to remain isolated from the governance of the kingdoms that rightfully have claimants of this land. House Rosnald very much wishes for the city of Nock to fall back under the control of the kingdom of Munio. If you help in this endeavor, we will help with your issue. Now, that is not to say it is a prerequisite for you to help first. However, if we do present aid that helps you solve your problems, you in turn will then provide aid to help us solve ours.
Rhonda, you know who I ultimately serve.
I do.
You know that the conglomerate often chooses not to involve themselves in such things.
But they have in the past.
They have. I will think on this.
So, that is more than fair. I will say that at current, it may benefit you to understand the political nature as it stands. The houses are very much aligned against House Rosnald and House Alustair. With one exception. House Calibor seems not to concern itself with the politics, and if that is truly the face that they are presenting, it may be the case that they are doing something behind the scenes, but so far no proof of that has come forward. It is very much the belief of this house that there are operators, individuals engaging behind the scenes, working together and moving against our houses. In recent months, we have seen these faces rise to the surface. We have gained a pair of names that we are very much trying to investigate, but unfortunately have not been able to ingrain ourselves into the houses outside of our own with much success. One is known as the Fabricator. He appears to be an individual within House Harrigan, not their master, or at least not who we know their master to be, but someone who is causing great stress for any who have accepted House Gravesend most generous offer of construction materials brought forward from their alliance with House Calyx. It seems that House Harrigan's Fabricator has found a way to manipulate the bricks created by House. This is Gravesend and House Calyx to be used in manners that they were not originally intended. Our sightings have learned that they are able to hear and see from some of these bricks. But also, apparently, they are also capable of turning into very strange golems made up of stone bricks. This appears to be a manipulation on the part of the fabricator on materials that were presented in good faith by House Gravesend and House Calyx. Some within my number think that there is actually a truce between these houses, and they are working together in these ends. However, there is no proof of that I can put forward. The second house that appears to have come forward with a representative that is problematic is House Sereda. The crab himself appears to be operating against House Rosnald and House Alustair. Normally, it is the efforts of House Rosnald to maintain the watch of the city and House Sereda to maintain the forces outside of the walls of this place. In recent months, however, due in part to this Brannis's unions, House Sereda's forces have recoiled from their extensions and have entered into the city and have started performing duties in line with the expectations of the Watch. It wasn't the case that the Sereda house didn't have members that were a part of the Watch. However, they reported to House Rosnald. They reported to me. These new members who perform duties are no longer at my disposal. They are of their own. They report to the crab directly.
Are you saying the crab or the crown?
Crab, C-R-A-B.
Thank you.
Boop, 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 boop.
And if you ask who the crab is, she would say, we know his name. We don't know the fabricator's identity. The crab is the nickname for House Sereda's progenitor, patriarch. His name is, for fuck's sake, why don't I have that in my notes? Because I'm a failure.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm telling on you.
Or something or another, right?
Yeah. Sarv Zinove Sereda.
Zenove Sereda.
Bear with me here. I'm posting it in the chat.
Good you found it, otherwise it was going to be Star Three-Fingered
Oh,
Teddy.
no, I completely spelled that wrong. Jesus.
I actually didn't do that bad. I just have an E instead of an I at the end.
So that's the
I
crab,
did that too.
Yeah.
Zarzanovi Sereda.
Mm.
Time for crap.
All will become crab.
John is just fucking memeing in the Discord. That's like, I mean,
It's all night today.
yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay. Fucking
He's going to
spammer.
report you to public safety.
Yeah. Don't report me to public safety continues to be.
No, I like where this is trending much better than when you first dropped Roland Brannis, and I was like, are you seriously going to make me fucking kill this NPC that I helped create?
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a job on the table.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
that's
so.
true. But then we start peeling back the layers, and it's like, oh, this is going to get way more interesting.
Just kill all of them. I mean, sorry, I'm still stabby.
Always meant to be.
Stank face, go!
So
Yeah, when the smoke clears, there's just going to be House Brannis left.
there's no House Brannis. He's just,
Not yet.
God damn it.
Got him.
Anywho,
Got him.
they I'm sorry, she explains that to you, and says he is keeping his own personal watch of the city out of his own house's fort. We have tried to request an audience with him, but so far as to say, he has not honored our requests thus far.
Well, if what you say is true, I must say I'm not surprised.
It hasn't come
Oh.
to any open conflicts between our watch and theirs. We've had discrepancies with members of the house before who do their own policing. House Montoulet, for example, and also House Noman. But I don't think it should prove. I don't think it should prove peaceful if they try to pull rank on us inside of a city where we are supposed to have jurisdiction. We've already made requests of a couple of the mercenary companies in the town, or in the city. The one that has risen to the top is the Grey Order. And they have sent some forces to assist us. And here's an interesting point in the campaign setting. You are aware of the Grey Order,
Okay.
which is one thing.
There's
Okay.
In
full
House
Grey
Knock,
Order.
there is a group called the Grey Order, spelled with an A instead of an E. And they are
Oh.
basically people who think that they are awesome and paying tribute to a long mythical thing that doesn't exist anymore, not aware of the fact that there is such a thing as the Grey Order that exists.
And they're
I
looking
With
love
an
it.
E.
Great.
fucking posers.
They are posers. They are 100% posers.
And posers.
I believe this was in the handout.
Yeah, it was.
Sure.
Absolutely. But
I do remember reading it. Yeah.
she says that they are they've hired some of the Grey Order to assist them in this specific effort.
So
if
the Grey
I-
Order is helping you then?
Yes, I believe one of their captains, what was his name? Belroth, is assisting in a lot of the policing around the area that House Sereda keeps under its most vigil watch.
They sound like they will be a great captain and a great asset to your Sorry. So proud of Belroth. He's come so far. So you've lost all of the watch, though, to Sereda.
No, incorrect. We are still maintaining our own watch. The problem is the Watch of Nock has always been something that was a bit of a joint effort.
Yeah.
House Sereda's forces have removed themselves from our watch and have created their own watch. So members of House Calibor, House Montoulet, House Noman, Gravesend, and Calyx, I believe, still have members inside of our watch. We still have the full strength of the watch. It's just that House Sereda's watch is much larger than ours, due in part to them retracting their forces from Siford's Pass and even further south from Fort Row and Fort Shrine.
I see.
Man, it's been a while since we've been to the open world map.
Yeah.
True.
It's been so long. Fiona was the representative token on the board.
Truly.
Wow.
Row, Shrine,
Yeah.
and Fort Carpenter was lost a while ago, so we didn't mention it.
So what I'm understanding is that those forces from those places have
Return to the
since
city.
moved- yeah, they've returned to Nock and they're acting as
watch.
watch for Sereda specifically,
Right.
not joining in with.
Well, no, they're policing the city.
Right, but I mean, they're not letting Rosnald know like they normally would.
Right. They're not reporting to Rosnald. They're reporting to the crab. So
Yeah.
they're basically.
So it's basically like 2 watches.
Yeah, imagine there was like 2 different like police forces like in one city. Like one is like, you know, the cops, and then the other is like the FBI or ATF or some shit.
But they don't
No.
talk at all.
They don't talk. Yeah.
That's not hard to imagine.
It's very much that scene in a movie where like the FBI guy comes in and the captain's like, "No, they're not taking this is my beat, da da da," and the FBI guy's
This is
like,
my case.
"Yeah, no, it's mine now." That hasn't happened yet. That's what they fear is going to happen. But it's very much that like there's 2 different forces that are trying to show up at the scene and solve the crimes.
Gotcha.
Culture.
Okay.
Barely onto the.
That's very problematic.
You're telling me.
And are any of the other houses giving you issue other than the 2?
No. Harrigan's not giving us issue. It's
Just the one
just-
from Harrigan.
And they do not say that there's anyone by that title amongst their number.
And yet his name continues to appear over and over again.
Does it?
Does seem that way. He has come
The
up
other
several
side of
times.
the city, you hear fucking lizard and the goddamn fat.
We have spoken directly to Edward Harrigan, the lord of the house, and he has stated that there is no such person amongst his number.
Well, he also may not be aware of such a person among his number.
If it's a rogue element, then that does prove to be concerning, and it does lead or lend credence to the idea that there are actors behind the scenes manipulating things for the houses. That's not present here in House Rosnald, mind you. And I don't believe it would be present in House Alustair, but we are currently at ends as well. We have our own scruples.
Of course.
Rules.
That is typical of any alliance.
These bricks that are being distributed throughout the city, you're aware of them. Are they something that you've had to deal with here?
They were presented forth by House Gravesend and House Calyx as a joint effort on their parts, creating these pieces of architecture. We've been using them for decades, so it's not like this is something new. No known manipulation of them up until this last year has been present, and reports of them moving and being manipulated have risen in recent days. There was one engagement where, as I mentioned briefly, the bricks of a pathway, a cobble kind of brick path, rose up and bludgeoned one of the members of the watch nearly to death.
Of your watch.
Of my watch, yes.
Interesting tactic on their end.
We don't know why it happened. We do know that we destroyed the thing. And that was about a month ago.
And they can also listen through these bricks.
Yes, it is believed that that is the case.
So they might be hearing us now.
No, the bricks in House Rosnald are not. These are old stones.
That is what I was asking. Are they okay?
Yeah. So, real quick note: the center of the city is the oldest portion of the city. It is built out of regular shit. Inside of the Steel District in very scarce places in the Magic District, all throughout the Green District, and in some parts of the Golden District, you'll have mycelium bricks. So
Okay.
the main place where it's going to be like overwhelming and every place will be built out of these bricks, the Green District. In the Steel District, maybe about a third of the buildings that are kind of towards the outside will have been created by those mycelium. Because you've been out that way. You remember that there was the old Montoulet house made out of wood, and then there were some other places that were kind of mentioned that were made out of the bricks. The Magic District doesn't have as many. A lot of the Magic District is kind of older as well, and built on top of the Underkeep. Same is kind of true of the Steel District. And then like the Center City is also built on the Underkeep as well. But yeah. The Montoulet is not built out of the bricks. It is also an old structure, but there are lots of buildings.
It would make
Did these-
sense. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did these bricks have necrotic energy like the lanterns, or is it different? Like the way whatever this effect is, does it function differently?
When you ask Rhonda, she kind of shrugs and says, "I."
No,
really don't
Hezrod's
know."
not there currently.
Sorry, then the question's moot. Josh, you were gonna say?
It makes sense that Sarita, Harrigan, and Calyx, all who seem to be affiliated with these bricks in some fashion, are in the more populated areas of this mycelium. Were I to assist, do you have a role for me in mind, or is this more of a in any way I can capacity, and you help me in any way you can?
Are you looking for official jurisdiction?
I'm more
Because the way
asking.
I understood it, you have jurisdiction from the Great Church.
Yes. No, I mean, what in what capacity are you interested in me fulfilling? Any, or is there a certain
There's obviously
venue?
a plot that is engaged here. Politically, if you could ensure that this plot is routed out, so much the better. But again, I do not want you engaging with elements that might cause you to bring forward your affiliations, due in part to the political toxicity therein.
Mm-hmm. And that's my main concern and why I must think about it, and also perhaps even confirm.
Granted, the hope of House Rosnald is that House Rosnald becomes the ruling body of House Nock, or of City of Nock, once again. And we pledge our allegiances to the Kingdom of Munio. It is our understanding that House Aluster wishes similar. However, they do not wish for us to pledge our allegiance to Munio. Instead, they wish us to pledge our allegiance to Liberis. The other 8 houses, with the exception of House Calibor, appear to be very much focused on ensuring that the city remains as it stands. Ruled by the 10 houses in court, and continuing in the way that it is. The Union, which has risen up of recent, causes issue for them, as most of their workers are requesting to be more directly related to the matter of decision making. It would seem that being directed, despite how well they other houses employees were treated, the understanding that they were not being allowed to direct the future of Nock was something that they were not happy with. And this Brannis individual has come to some power. But yes, and House Calibor is too busy with its trades and its matters outside of the city to concern itself with. They are fat from the wealth that they have accrued. I'm sure that if House Calibor saw that new leadership was present in the city, they would not care in the slightest. because they would still be able to continue to profit. The other houses very much require the city to continue to function as is. House Calibor is a bit more independent than that.
So do you prefer this union to stay in place, or
I don't know enough about it to be able to tell you whether or not I want it to continue or not. If the people are gaining more purview over what they do in their lots in life, that does not change the fact that if it were under the control of the Kingdom of Bunio, that it would alter that much. They would have to pay taxes, of course, to the kingdom, but other than that, that would be the only thing that would differ from its current status. So they can work for themselves. That does not bother me. It would definitely be something I would have to discuss with Brennus if House Rosnold ever comes to power. But unfortunately, if the Union were to come forward with any talks, they would have to talk to the council. And my understanding is that at least 7 of the house's leaders would try and kill him on sight.
understandable? Well, we shall learn what we can on that end and see what we can do.
About this time, Hezrod, Kel, and Soma, you would arrive at House Rosnold and start inquiring about where the others are located. And feel free to, like, at any point during our conversation continuing to jump in as you arrive on the scene. But anyways, Estella, Avran, and Ruben continuing.
As they arrive and before they enter the building, Hezrod kind of pauses a moment and looks at someone and he says, "Should I be intimidating?"
This house seems okay, so but be ready.
Okay.
El raises his gun and looks at Soma. Yeah, gun.
Be ready. I don't think we want to walk in with that, because then they probably won't let us in. But again, it's
Puts his
been a
gun
year.
down.
Be ready. Avran, Ruben, and Estella, anything else you want to engage Rhonda with?
Has the name Duran Balakard or Thaddeus come up at all in the last year?
I apologize. No. I think I've heard the name Balcard before. Nayland Balcard, the Grey Ogre.
Mm.
The Pale Reaver. The one who attacked the capital. But that's from history. It's thousands of years ago.
They were 2 other cults that were active during the time that the Death Cult was active last year.
3 cults.
3, not 1.
Well, that definitely falls upon my watch for not having routed them out. Unfortunately, our agreements with the Batavian Church fell to the wayside. What with everything that was happening politically. So I can do nothing but apologize for that.
They too have detracted from you?
I'm sorry, what?
You said that they fell out
No.
with Rosnold?
No. Rosnold's agreements with the church fell out.
Oh, just the
Regarding
agreements. Okay.
regarding the death cults, like seeking.
Oh,
remember?
okay. Yeah.
Remember how there was like the coalition force that went and tried to find them? I ran like a Patreon game that had like a whole bunch of people that were a part of it. The only 2 that remained on staff and continued looking for the death cults were Maluriel and Toka. And yeah, you understand how well that's been doing.
Yeah. Sorry. I thought you meant that.
No, they're still in good standing.
Good.
Just not so much for that kind of inquisitorial process.
Great. I was like, wait, this is going real deep, John.
No. Not that deep. Not yet, anyway.
Yet.
What?
Sorry.
It's gonna happen.
Gonna happen.
As the church was looking into it more than than we were. Obviously, I was more focused on Blackavon Lake, but yeah, I wanted to see if you knew anything about it. All right. Well, I
Oh,
think that
good. You're
concludes.
still here.
Selma, Hezrod, and Kel arrive.
Hello.
You just hear murmurs of like, should we be intimidating? Do I use my gun or?
No, that was outside. Never been said.
Yeah, Hezrod's just kind of standing at the back. He's just kind of looking around at everything. If
We're
if
good.
he sees anybody who's not with the party, he tries to look like as what's the word I'm looking for?
So it's just the group in Rhonda.
Okay. Oh yeah, we've already met her.
But he's like
Yeah, looking tough.
looking big.
Rhonda kind of doesn't really seem to engage with them too much. If you have any other questions for me, I'm absolutely willing to accept them here.
Not to make you retread the whole conversation, there'll obviously be time for all of us to catch up. Ruben, I assume it was good news that you got now?
There's this kind of like flash in the screen. It kind of goes dark and then goes light. Wombat, do you tell them kind of everything that's already transpired on your side?
Yeah.
And then Soma, do you tell them what transpired on your side?
Other than the details of where a meeting would be, because I don't know.
Yeah, obviously
necessarily.
not mentioning the inky mushroom. Got it. Okay, but everything else is kind of exchanged. So during that kind of like dimming of the lights and then like back to the scene, that's where the conversation is presumed to have happened between characters. You translate the information.
I mentioned to Rhonda the food that Soma and gang encountered made out of the mushroom stuff.
Oh no, I don't think it's made out of mushrooms. It's made by House Calyx. It's plant material. I think it's mostly
It's Impossible Dragon.
yeah. But no, she would explain like it's mostly like celery and like other kind of fibrous material.
I just want to make sure that they're not listening to people specifically with this now. If it's related to the mycelium at all, but if it's not, I am more at ease. Yes.
The only way it's related that she kind of denotes is that it's made by House Calyx.
Mm-hmm. Well, I probably won't be eating it anyway.
Beans.
Sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
it's made out of beans. It's quite good.
Beans.
Beans, yeah, it's made out of beans.
You can get it anywhere here.
Human beings?
Beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the
The
more you chew.
more you eat.
So that question I was asking earlier about the mycelium bricks, about whether or not they were exuding the same kind of necrotic energy as those lanterns. I was asking that in case like Avran had attempted to like do his divine sense on those bricks.
What you'll get from this is like, no, there doesn't appear to have been any divine sense on the bricks yet. Any kind of focus on the bricks. The problem with the bricks that Rhonda denotes is what bricks are bad and what bricks are not. It's not all bricks. It's some bricks. And she also says she doesn't have any members of House Rosnalt that are holy swordsmen. So she's not certain what your detection methods are, but their limited detection methods have proven that the bricks must be able to hear and see due to their tracking efforts, and the bricks can also apparently turn into golems based on their engagement with that one.
So Hezrod will put forth to Avran that maybe when we get around some of these bricks, he could try using divine sense to see if that is a potential method we could use to detect them. Because if they are indeed necrotic in nature, Hezrod has an idea he'd like to try. It probably won't work, but if that is the case, that is something I would like to try. But them being able to turn into golems, that sounds like a job for a hammer.
We're gonna smash some bricks. Rhonda, where would you recommend be safe to stay given the political climate?
Well, we could offer you place here in House Rosnold, that's absolutely fine with your assistant, gesturing to Ruben. We've offered him a stay here, and we will afford that to his associates.
Thank you.
Um,
That's very generous.
Yes, that our previous location isn't safe for the proprietors anymore, and it looks like there's another set of eyes there separate from this whole brick mess.
Ruben, as a student of history, you would know that a lot of southern and like very low kind of like on the Munio kind of positioning forces of Munio during the Civil War were very much in league with the conglomerate early on in the Civil War. And so it seems that Rhonda here does seem to have that same kind of mentality. Yeah. The conglomerate isn't bad even when it was at its worst.
Right.
So that seems to be the case, and why she's so eager to help you with everything.
Ruben knows this and is just earnestly still appreciative and doesn't really take advantage of it. You know, he will thank, even though he knows that she's doing it out of duty, he still thanks.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Shoot.
Just because of the politics, does this create any sort of like favor or no favor for Estella's political affiliations?
So Myrrh doesn't give a fuck about Nock's political bullshit. It's
great.
Let me try to explain it this way. Imagine Nock is America. And then imagine Mare is like fucking Sweden. Like it's like it's more of a ha 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 ha, you people can't get your shit in order situation versus anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't cause any issues within Nock of the houses either, though.
What you
me staying with Rosnold.
No.
Okay.
Again, unless you start like swearing fealty to House Rosnold.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't owe Rosnold anything for staying here.
Okay. That's all I needed. Then yeah.
Unless they start commanding, like, you know, I gave you this favor, you owe me something. You can say at that point, you gave me the favor without any indication of contract. I owe you nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Elves are very much if a contract is being formed, there's no vaguity. It's business time. Business
right.
talk.
I'm just not aware if there were any.
No, Mare does not have
those
connections in the city. Basically, you have done work.
Unless it affects Mare.
Right. And sometimes you do work for houses, and that's fine. But you're never like swearing fealty to them. It is contractual. Mare's doing its own business.
Well, I'm not saying that just staying a couple of nights with Rosnold is gonna be swearing fealty. I don't want to fuck up more political shit.
Nope, you're totally cool. You're above this stuff in a lot of regards.
Great.
Well, lucky you.
Okay. Any other questions for Rhonda?
It seems like we have quite a bit to discuss, which we are so good at.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rhonda, again. And, I should be getting to you shortly.
Absolutely. And again, stay within the halls of House Rosnold as long as you please. We will do everything in our power to make sure your stay here is as comfortable as possible.
I do have one question in regard to that. Where are the stables with the horse troughs?
She would indicate where they're located, near the barracks.
There you go, Hazrod.
Thank you.
Good thinking out for your friends.
Got him.
But what you will notice as you kind of step out into the area, kind of outside, as you're kind of moving towards your apartments, being led to it by an attendant, is that House Rosnold has a very massive kind of canalway surrounding it, which is the cleanest canal in the entirety of the city. And it's very luxurious with small little inlets that have like cute little quaint ponds.
That
with-
is a huge horse trough.
yeah,
Yeah, fuck that horse trough. This is the Ritz.
this is literally and in all honesty, you're probably not the only merfolk moving about in this space. There are members of House Rosnald who are members of merfolk tradition, and they're kind of moving in and about.
Cool.
Any river? Merfolk?
Yeah, there are a couple of river merfolk, but they look like they're like, so they have the qualities of a river merfolk. It doesn't look like they're racially river merfolk. They're not.
Yeah, I was
what I
about
mean?
to say, do they look like me?
They look like
No, it's-
they look like you racially, but they are not dressed
Right,
like
right.
you.
They're not
Um,
traditional river folk.
They're
Yeah, I mean, if we're making ourselves comfortable, Hezrod will like stash his shit where everybody's going to be staying, but then he's going to go like schmooze in the fancy waterways with the other merfolk.
How are you doing likewise?
I think Kel would do Luckways.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll cover that in a bit. Soma,
Fucking wingman, yes.
Soma, Avran,
Fin
Ruben,
Man.
and Estella. I know that Soma is privy to information that I'm assuming once in quiet and aware that you're not in a place that's being listened to, you would divulge that information to the rest of the group.
Correct.
So the Inky Mushroom and the Union guy.
I will be 100% honest. I'm not sure that one house ruling over the city and swearing fealty to some kingdom somewhere else is particularly better than 10 houses all squabbling all of the time, but I do know that whatever is going on right now is not good for the city. John just keeps getting caught by those gifts, man. It's dangerous in that channel.
No, I went to the landing page and the miniatures Jeremy posted. They call me dumb for some of work. 0 skill, 0 motivation, 7 poop breaks. Hell yeah.
So
That's a
bad.
good one. That's a
He
good
just
one.
swoops in out of nowhere and like blows up all the channels, and then he's going to disappear for another week.
That's what he does. I love him. He's good. We met him at a Games Workshop store, and we were in
My
line to
dude
buy
needs
stuff.
some fiber. God damn.
Neat.
No. You take the poop breaks not to poop. You take the poop
Okay.
breaks to get
Those
out
are-
of working.
It's 1 poop break, 6 Reddit breaks. I get it. I got
Yeah.
it. I got
Yeah.
Maybe 2 poop breaks. Depends on the day. Anywho, do you wish role play? Tell me.
So I'm not certain that one house swearing fealty to a kingdom is necessarily better for Nock, but I do know that just about anything is probably better than what it sounds like is going on right now, and it also sounds very much like part of this process will be getting rid of that God's forsaken fabricator, which is the only thing that I am truly concerned about right now.
He
If
does
the ba-
seem to be a
if the-
problem.
We don't even know if it's a he or she. We just know the name Fabricator. I would
It wouldn't
be
be
prepared.
the first Undaunted that's ruined my life, so
So,
perhaps he's a robot.
It could be someone we've already encountered. It could be someone alien and unknown. But what I do know is that if that name continues to pop up, our fates are somehow intertwined, and it will be a day of reckoning when we find them.
I won't be talking in that situation this
Oh.
time.
I mean,
So-
you're not alone. What I will say is, I don't think any of us know what's best for Nock, and the reason why we aren't the leaders of Nock is because of this. But I would rather not have people doing the things that they're doing to the city and lessening the quality of it and whatnot. But I cannot decide this alone. I must confirm the conglomerate, and while see what has befallen them, let them know that I am in fact alive, and see if my duties lie in this fight or not. All aside, our fates are aligned either way. We are going to be working against the fabricator, just for the fact that we have a toll to enact on the realm that we have just left, and the fabricator lies in our quarry. If this I don't even know what to call it, but if the things that Rhonda is asking of me align with that, I see no reason why not to join her cause. But I must make sure that these actions do not have echoing repercussions, of course.
The only thing I would ask is that you keep some of the details of this Brannus out of your conversation. That was trusted information from a long trusted friend, and I'm
not going to go into the finer details of this. I don't think they have time for it, even if I did. But I will keep the secret. You also have a secret of mine that I do not wish anyone in the city to know. It was hard for me to even reveal it to you.
Of course.
So I ask that you keep my affiliations as much a secret as that.
Of course. Estella, Avran, do you have any thoughts on our direction and the plight of the city? I mean, it's not your city, Estella.
True, but I do work here often.
I commute.
What?
I commute.
Yeah, I commute.
Yeah, DM. What the hell?
Commuter.
It's not my city, but I commute, you know?
Yeah. I'm in a sleeper town on the outside. I do often work here, though. Politics change rather rapidly here, I will say. Especially this year. I'm not quite sure on who exactly in the end to align with, but I can tell you that this union guy, Brannus, he seems to have truly disrupted the city as a whole, whether he thinks it's for the best of the people or if he thinks it's for the best of himself.
Well,
The illusion is ruined.
My immersion.
yeah, you're gonna have to start paying me money to pretend your green screen work is good, John.
We got cat butted.
That's an acceptable excuse.
He keeps trying to jump up on the desk because Shiro's in the drawer.
Aww.
They fight over
Kick
the
him
desk.
out.
Go ahead, Tom.
My suggestion is perhaps we just speak to him. The last time I tried to scheme excessively turned out pretty poorly, so perhaps my new direct approach will be a little more effective. And if it goes poorly, well, sounds like we can collect on another job.
Was there anything to collect?
Well, it at least solves a problem.
This is true. Avran, how do you feel?
I do not like these politics. I'm a simple man. I deal with things in a certain way, and this is not one of them. But I believe Nock would be better if there were one ruling body rather than several.
Okay, Anakin.
What?
Sorry. For those of you who are familiar with the prequel trilogy, Star Wars, there's a point in the second movie where Anakin basically says, I want a dictator to Amidala, who is a member of the Senate. So I said, okay, Anakin.
The best
Okay.
trilogy. The best trilogy, by the way.
Best
Well,
trilogy.
I
Um,
certainly.
So
do
you
have-
side with Rosnald then?
No. I side with Alistair.
I do have one other thing that I must discuss with you. Who is Fiona?
You remember on the boat when I was asking if you were a wizard or a wizard?
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the reasons for that. Also, kind of a criminal for a little bit. I don't necessarily agree with what the Montoulet were saying, but there were some behavioral changes, and that's allegedly why she left. Because she felt herself losing control. So I don't trust the Montoulet because of things that I'm quite certain they were associated in that affected me. And from what she was saying of Malika, I don't necessarily believe that she was telling us the truth entirely either. But Fiona, to be frank, I did not know for long. Estella, you and Golradir probably knew her longer than most, but she did get her power from something beyond my understanding, but I normally deal in cities, not cosmic powers.
I believe Gordir had mentioned the being's name was Seymour that she often talked to.
I'll lean to Ruben and say she's not really a criminal. Just whisper in his ear. She's not really a criminal. Then go back to
Just a murderer. I'm sorry, what? No.
she's also
She was trying to break
he'll
into
lean,
someone's house and
he'll lean back in. He says she's also not a murderer.
Sorry.
should ask Soma about that.
Fiona has an advocate in Kel.
Fiona somewhere else
Wait,
out there
Kel's not
sneezing.
even there. He can't defend her.
He
Yeah.
is. I'm
No,
not.
I am there.
I'm not.
I am there.
Honestly, I'm not gonna breach the. It's fine.
You know what?
Oh, no,
Just let it happen.
It's fine.
Never
Don't
mind,
worry
I
about it.
wasn't
It's
there.
fine.
I
It's
just
fine.
keep having a merfolk buzzing in
Well-
my ear, and it's
It's just over the
calling stone just keeps
stone.
ringing, and
She's
it's
just
telling
like-
us she's not a criminal.
Well,
She's a perfectly lovely lady.
It's fine.
No,
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with
Kiora was there. Kiora was there.
it. No, I'm okay with
So
it.
maybe
It's not a big
fine.
deal.
It
It's not a big
happened.
deal.
It
Yeah.
happened.
He did some like
we're rolling with it. Okay.
Yeah.
I prefer.
Um,
I prefer if you're there anyways. That way you're engaging with the party.
So, why is she? Why is she a party member of yours? Why did you associate with her? Where is she now? Do you actually know her location? Were you lying to the month?
I
Things
do not.
begin spilling out of Ruben like he's been holding this in for a while.
Yeah,
Ruben's been a year. We don't know where she is.
Well, I now know where she is.
Oh,
well, I didn't, so I didn't lie because I,
well, that's news
as
to
we
us.
discussed, am an upstanding citizen.
Upstanding.
If
Of course.
is what the Montelays say about her true?
I am not sure. I did not have a very long friendship with her, if you want to say that.
The only information that I can really offer is she spoke to somebody as if they were there that nobody else could see. There was a morning where she spontaneously sprouted 14
Several.
eyes.
Several. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was 14. And she said something about power from somewhere else. She wasn't very specific, and then when we were in the temple, Duran Balcard ripped the eyes out of her head.
You know
Duran
far
Bal-
more about her than I do, so
I am observant.
That's the name that I mentioned to Rhonda earlier, correct?
I was not present for that, but based on the quick discussion we had, I believe so. That is also the name that the Montelay lady used.
Marinikia.
Well, I will say this for now. If there are people that mean to use this power, and this power is causing issue, it might be well to find her and help her to not have it affect her or others anymore. I do not wish to harm your friend. He says it as a question.
Stoma kind of shrugs.
Yeah.
So long as she doesn't mean to use that power to harm others. But it seems like if any of what she said is true, that she might not have a choice in that. And that is something you must. And Ruben kind of turns his head to look at Avrin, who's been quite silent throughout this whole thing. Think on this.
He's sort of thinking, a little bit of fuming. He doesn't really have a good opinion on how to solve issues.
Unless it involves a sword.
Yeah.
Bran, am I correct? You knew her the longest of the 4-point spider of us that are here?
Hasbrat and I, we started adventuring together with her. She has changed quite a bit. And after this year, I have no idea what exactly she is, but
I mean, in the
after
short time that
release- yeah.
And
in the short time I knew her, didn't feel bad about it. And Kiara was the same.
When she adventured with us, she died several times. She's gone through many harrowing experiences, so I understand if she wishes to seek more power.
And as we all know, the best people to hold power are the highly traumatized.
Why
True,
nobody
yes.
who ever plays in any of my games should ever get power.
I can't tell if you're serious about that. Some
I can't either.
Perhaps we can start by sending her a letter to where she's staying and or presumably staying, and start from there to see if she's willing to work with the Montelay
But
before we.
I assume the answer to that will
work
be
with us.
That is probably
would be
no.
better.
Ruben, am I correctly reading between the lines here that you are perhaps suggesting that your group may be of assistance in that matter?
Probably in better fashion than the Montelays for sure, and quite rightly so. It is more our jurisdiction than theirs, as it were.
The
But-
Montelay seem to think their jurisdiction is everything, based on them showing up when the police were called, when there was a corpse needed to be disposed, when people are just talking in a tavern.
I believe going with Ruben's faction would be the best out of the two.
Yeah, I don't want to have any Montelays dealing in whatever.
Well,
Yeah,
then,
it's not a good idea.
Estella, you...
I still suggest that we send a letter first to
Of course.
warn her, as they do seem to be after her and circling her family as a result of her not being present.
Is
Perhaps
Hezron in the room with us?
Is it?
No.
Is it far? Is it far?
Yes.
Is Hezron in the
Okay.
room with us?
no, he's out getting some fishy action.
Well, you can be if
Yeah.
you want to. Again,
Oh.
I,
Oh, I'm not here.
No, you're
Okay.
there. We've decided you're there.
you're that.
Do
You're
you know
that.
of a
You are
circle
there.
near
Okay.
there? Because we could
Okay,
always
sorry.
potentially travel there.
Just say I could send a messenger, but
I was going
if it's
to
far,
Yeah, I was
What
going
did-
to suggest Estella Golradir, perhaps being outside of the city, might have some method to get her a message that's less likely to be intercepted than us sending something from in here.
that's what I was worried about.
And perhaps you could prepare him for the arrival of her parents.
Because
I.
if Golridir isn't already being watched as well.
This is
That's
true.
possible.
I have not been able to get that far, but it is a much closer distance to visit him than it is to
Is it?
find Fiona.
Is Fiona within? I don't know.
Fiona is 2,000 miles away.
Never mind. Thank you.
quick note. So just I make sure I understood it. I just want to make sure that everyone else understands it as well the way that I'm understanding it, because I think I'm picking up on what's going down here. Estella has an instant communication to Golridir. Golridir can write a letter and send it from Land's End to where it needs to go based on what she dictates. Or the alternative reading of that was you're sending the woods off over to Golridir anyway. Give them a means of sending a message that would be parlayed through them to Golridir, from Golridir to Fiona. Either way,
It would.
do those sound
Yeah.
about right, Tom? Was that what you were
Yeah.
going for?
That's kind of either one of those.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of-
was gonna ask Hezron to cast sending
That also works.
directly to Fiona.
I was gonna do
Or
a messenger,
Golridir.
but it's only 50 miles.
Yeah, Golridir
Yeah,
could
those-
also do the same.
Sure.
I just figure we should also, let Golridir know that we volunteered.
Well,
His
I'll let
services?
him. I'll let him know that in the
Um,
morning whenever the sending stone works again.
I'd say honestly,
Because
if we're
it's a
trying to
once
be,
a day thing.
if we're trying to be covert about this, it's probably best to send it through Goldir first.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
And also, it sounds like people have been watching the woods. It might be best to prepare for
Yes.
somebody to follow them that way.
Should we go with the woods to Land's End?
I think that may draw even more attention if there is not already attention on them.
I can always arrange for
Would
guards
protect him.
protection to follow them in our own way if we are that concerned.
I think that would be best, and perhaps not telling them necessarily that they might be in danger. That's why I stopped the conversation so abruptly in the tavern once you noticed the lantern, Avram. Just trying to get them out of harm's way.
Mm.
My suggestion would be, Ruben, you can speak to your people and let them know that there may be a matter in addition to what you were sent here to deal with that may be needing their attention. And I think it would be best if we just went to speak to this Brannis to figure out exactly what his purpose is.
Who's going? I got 10 minutes. I gotta set the scene. Stop stepping on those buttons, you baddie.
To Inky Mushroom.
Yep. I mean,
Everyone,
we
right?
can all go.
You can all go.
Everybody, but yeah.
Well, I thought me and Hezron are doing
If you want to
fish things.
do fish things, you can.
Yeah, totally fine.
Absolutely fine. Yeah, there isn't going to be much that's kind of relayed in the merfolk kind of like situation, other than what you will glean, Hezrod, is there are a number of merfolk that are present here, who are coral merfolk, who will, if you kind of engage with them, kind of explain that they are refugees from about a year and a half ago, and they've been kind of staying here in the city. Most of them have been taken in by House Rosnald to kind of just get their bearings, and they actually have a small little town that they built inside of the canalway because it runs very deep in the center of the
Am I
city.
to assume this? They're like refugees from a similar incident that wiped out.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when you kind of get a gauge of it, it's a couple hundred coral merfolk that have kind of set up shop here and live inside of the canalway of House Rosnald.
I was just like schmoozing for the lulz, but this is actually turned into like a
Good stuff.
legitimate. Like
Yeah.
there's substance here.
Yeah, and once you kind of engage with them a bit, you'll kind of get an idea that there's some services that they may provide for you that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Namely, there is a individual in the leadership of the small underwater town that is very capable in the histories of the coral merfolk that basically got us served. She is a trainer. In a 3-day time, she can teach you history, arcana, or nature. So one of those three. Okay.
Nature.
Real quick.
I'll go with him.
Okay, so since you two are doing that, I'm going to cut to the other 4, and we're going to deal with the mushroom real
Yeah.
quick. 'Cause
Well, I was going to say that if they want us to go with them, all they got to do is pick up their calling stone and give us a ring.
Do you want them to go with you?
I'll ask. I mean,
It's
been
more of
quite a long.
Okay.
It's been a while since you've seen. I assume we know where they went, so
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go by on the way out. We are going to meet the union rep. I know it's been a while since you've been around your people and had a chance to just take a breather. You're welcome to come along, or you're welcome to. It's been a journey. A journey.
Yes. Quite. But if you need a hammer, Hezrod will accompany you.
Why don't we all go just in case? I mean, from what I'm hearing, it should be good, but if not, we may need to blow the situation up.
Okay. So just to
He
kind
nods and he says,
Go
I
ahead.
will be back, friends. And he like waves at all the new merfolk.
Just,
And then he climbs up out of the water and like,
just to fast track it.
God's trying so hard.
I've got 7 minutes, and I know exactly where I want the beat to end because I know it's going to drop. So we're going to go on. So you make it to the Inky Mushroom. You arrive there. Pleasant number of people. The Inky Mushroom, kind of like, imagine a Starbucks with a bit more open space, and kind of that strange, weird-looking back room that really you don't understand.
Wi-Fi.
As you kind of move forward and kind of speak to the lady at the counter, who meets the description that you were kind of given by Freddy. However, she appears to be kind of wearing weird garb. She has like a tattered kind of dark cloak, green doublet underneath, kind of purple and magenta sash, a very strange looking case on her belt, and a rapier sword kind of on her back. But she's going through the business of, working. And when she sees you, she kind of like goes through the motions, and you engage her directly as Freddy instructed, explaining Freddy sent you. And she says, if you'll come with me, and she kind of leads you towards the back room. You go through kind of this storage area, and as you're kind of moving in, whoever's in the back of the group notices that another person kind of steps out from the shadows, if you will. The individual in question is a woman who's pretty decently armed. Looks more of like a martial capable individual, a fighter type, if you will. And she kind of pincers you with the lady at the front counter and her at the back, kind of moving you as a line into the back room. Eventually you come to a very large open warehouse, and you'd see that there are like hooks kind of hanging from different points, with massive like different types of fungus kind of hanging from the hooks. In some points you're pretty sure you see like massive caps that you've seen before, kind of the mushrooms that grew and glowed out at Manus where you found the weird dead dryad. There's also other parts where you can see that there are like, glowing mushroom caps of different types, blues and, golds and oranges. But the place is pretty poorly lit. And what Soma very quickly recognizes is that you've been kind of led into a place that lends itself to ambush. There do appear, and Estella, with the elvish eyes, very clearly knows that there are other individuals present. Across the way from you, kind of open in the space, you see a man in kind of brass armor. He, as he sees you kind of coming in, kind of throws a sword up onto his shoulder. It's a massive curved blade, like an executioner's kind of blade, but it appears to be made out of green steel that's pattern welded with a very ornate kind of leaf-like pattern that runs through it. His hair is bright red, and he just seems to be very casually kind of standing there waiting for you. Soma, once the door closes, the person that's leading you kind of stops, turns around, and as they do so, their face changes, like whoosh, very quickly shifts from a woman to kind of an androgynous form. And in the same motion, you see that a massive crossbow seems to have appeared in their hand, kind of pointing at you. And they say, "He'll see you, but be very careful." And they kind of step back. The person in question looks like this.
I fucking knew it.
As you walk towards the person who appears to be the point of interest, he smiles, looking at you, and says, "Welcome to the heart of the Union. I'm Roland Brannis. Let's talk about how you can help us." And that's where I'll leave the session for tonight. Thanks for watching those that did, and we will see you next Friday as we continue with Union Talks.
As we seize the means of
Yes.
production.
Seize the means of production.
Yes, comrade, yes.